All right, my friends, today is July the 21st. It is Monday. Let's do the market outlook and plans for the week ahead. Okay, so before I get into the outlook, just wanted to pause for a second and, have a moment of appreciation. It's always important to pause and be grateful for the opportunities that the market has awarded us. Let's go ahead and get into macro outlook. So macro outlook, more or less playing off of what we've been yapping about for an eternity now. So first point is, we're trend respecters still running off of the same macro plan, expecting higher prices this year. That obviously looks like that's playing out. So moving forward, what is the most important conversation for us? The most important conversation is this an actual expansion wave, or is this about to get faded and mean revert back into the range? Yo guys, hit that like and subscribe button for me. Appreciate it. So this is the multi-month range that we built out, roughly 8 months, and now we've had a significant impulse outside of it and traded to fresh highs. What's really important moving forward is that we continue to build a range up here and hold above this impulse. As long as we hold above the impulse candle, the origin from this momentum, it should set us up to continue to build out this range and then see another impulse from here. When we get a impulse outside of this local range that we're building, that will be the clear sign that we're actually in a trend. Right now, this is the early stages where bulls are fighting to lock the trend in. Another move will signify the clear risk on stage that everybody's been waiting for. Personally, I'm not waiting for that. I already went risk on a long time ago. But just making the point from a technical standpoint, and that's how I view the trend, right? So once we get another leg, the trend will be locked in. This shouldn't be new for anybody. This is just playing off of what we always talk about, right? Look at the previous trend, impulses that we've had in this macro trend that we've been riding. As far as levels go, 120K is significant resistance where we're at right now. We expected this to be the case. Beyond that, we've got 150 as our next kind of target. I think that there'll probably be some resistance points along the way, but keep it simple with the round numbers. As far as supports go, 115, the singles, that's your main support right now. If you lose 115, then you don't really want to be in dip buying mode. If we lose 115, it means that we'll likely trade a lot lower. So our inability to trade down is what we want to see, right? Everybody wants to see, let's retest the range, let's clean up the inefficiencies, blah, blah, blah. If we're actually to be bullish, we're not going to mess around with any of the stuff below. We're going to build out this range, and we're going to blast off from this, hopefully this week. So that's pretty much it, right? These are the days when you are reminded that optimism pays. This is one of those kind of cliche lessons that I've yapped about for ages in our space, but it's crazy that so many people come in, have a hard time, and then become pessimistic and bearish about the space when it's so just, ripe with opportunities as long as you stay hopeful. And these are the days when you should be reminded of that, right? So in the future, when times are tough, remember these kind of periods where it wasn't so tough. Okay, that's more or less it for me. TLDR on the macro outlook is, I'm very optimistic about things. There's not anything on these charts that tell me, at least the charts that we're looking at right now, that tell me I need to be worried. Everything looks really, really healthy. We're a little bit extended from value. I'll show that, show that to you on VWAPs here in a second. But overall, very, very happy about everything. Being risk on, is clearly the play right now, right? If you're not long and you're sidelined, I get it. It's been tough. You have had opportunities, right? Any one of these sell-offs where we've traded down into the 16, 17, 18Ks recently, those were your buying the dip opportunities. We've covered that very clearly in the Paragon. Buying the shallow dips is really your only opportunity. That's how you want to play derivatives from a spot standpoint. You just want to be aping into things probably. I mean, at this point, realistically, it's uncomfortable for me to tell you to just ape into things because, when I was officially calling that in the group last week and the week before, right, everything was depreciated so much more than it is now, right? So I hate to tell you to buy into the green, but realistically, it's almost just worth the gamble, right? And if we're wrong, we lose 115K, then we'll readjust everything. So medium time frame was to start off with the VWAPs, the anchored. There's not a single anchored VWAP that you can draw that is bearish right now. I'm sure, if you were to maybe draw one off the local swing high, maybe you get a slightly bearish one, but generally speaking, all the anchored VWAPs are telling me the same thing. Bet on upwards, right? Momentum is strong right now. Everything looks pretty healthy on medium time frame. Next major talking point, we'll just come over to this chart so it's a little more clear. These single prints that we put in when we legged up, we'll go to the 30 minutes so it's more accurate. These single prints matter a lot. I know you've heard me yapping about this, but we'll just make sure everyone's clear on what I'm talking about. These single prints from this impulse, that's your do or die zone. We don't really ever want to see these get tested, but from a traditional auction market theory mindset, you would expect these to get tested, and these would be your ideal long. Because of the macro picture of how optimistic and bullish everything is, I really don't think that we're going to trade into this stuff that much. So that's pretty much it for the medium time frame yap. Pretty straightforward. We care about all the anchored VWAP arguments. We care about the singles. And I am still in this long setup that I shared with you guys last week. I was, in and out on the perps all week, but I am just I'm gambling on the futures trade. I did share this one with you on Tuesday or Wednesday, whenever I took it originally. Tuesday, it looks like. So alts right now are very, very hot. The idea, that I've been stressing that, you're looking for Bitcoin to give it an impulse outside of that macro range. Once that comes, you buy alts, right? That's where we're not right now, right? Ultimately, we are not, we don't know that the Bitcoin trend is going to actually continue just yet. We're fighting for that next impulse wave. But I think, going with the trend, going with every star is pointing towards up right now. So just go with it, As far as alts go, altcoin performance recently has been insane. I'm actually trying my best to not be doing any P&L or percentage calculations right now, trying to just block that out of my mind and trade the charts, because it's been, almost tempting to be euphoric with how much everything's traded up recently. So let's just run through some coins. Let's go ahead and start off with ETH. So I am sideline Sally on ETH. I have a tiny bit of it, but I have it for utility purposes, not for trading appreciation. ETH is clearly, one of the new Ponzi's. So a lot of the boys that have been participating in this, shout out to you. It's something I got asked about a lot. And I chose to bet on Solana again this time around. Who knows whether it's going to be an egg on my face scenario or whether it's maybe not going to matter and Solana will maybe do just as well as ETH. But either way, I think that we are approaching that kind of ETH season. So for any of the guys that were super early to it, shout out to you. I'm probably just going to continue to just watch ETH do its thing, and you don't need to chase every rabbit in front of you, guys. But yeah, if you are on the ETH team, kudos, because you're probably pretty comfy right now. Hype has been a really weird one. I know that people, if you've been long hype recently, you're probably feeling a little bit bummed because as hype has been kind of going sideways / down, the aggregate of the market's traded up a lot. But don't forget the fact that hype has been one of the best performing coins in the past couple of months. So I'm still in hype, and I did add to it last week. I feel good about Hyperliquid, to be honest. It moves on its own, so don't be too upset on days when it's getting outperformed by other things, because there's days when the market's down and Hyperliquid will be up all on its own. So just be patient with hype. Fart is obviously one of the best memes right now. Basically every meme that I have, it feels like they're just insanely strong right now. So Fart looks really good. I mean, yeah. Fartcoin has not only a good-looking chart, but it has the attention part of the economy down pat. So we like hype. Solana is my other layer one that I picked to bet on alongside Hyperliquid. You guys know I've always been, ever since beginning of 2023, been like a big Solana guy. And yeah, I don't really think that it's like the best looking of charts, but it doesn't really matter that much. All the lower time frame charts look good on Solana. High time frame is just now starting to shift a little bit more optimistic, but yeah, I feel good about this one. Next will be Doge. This is for sure my favorite coin in the port. If you've been in the Paragon or followed me for a long time, you guys know that I always buy up Doge whenever I want to be risk on in the markets. People always clown Doge and say, "Oh, why would you ever go buy the biggest memes? It's gonna perform. It's not gonna go up very much because it's big, right?" And then every time Doge ends up being a really strong coin. So I shouldn't say every time, because there's no such thing as every time, but it really feels like that just repeats itself over and over again. People FUD my Doge, I buy it, and it goes up. So right now Doge is really strong. Memes in general are strong. I think Doge is probably the strongest out of the bunch right now overall, and that's just because of the Treasury BS that they got approved for. So there's some stupid Treasury, company, they're going to buy up a bunch of Doge, right? If you're long Doge, you love to hear that, right? And we'll dump our Doge on the Treasury companies one day. That's pretty much it for me. We talked about all the altcoins, that I wanted to talk about. There's a few others here and there, but the guy that chases two rabbits catches neither. So I would rather have my focus centered around memes and the layer 1 stuff and Bitcoin, and just not stretch myself too thin. If there's an opportunity to take some sort of Dalai Lama setup this week, I'm 100% going to be looking to send that, assuming I'm at the PC. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me, guys. So closing thoughts are going to be around content. So any sort of, outlooks, trades, streams, you guys obviously can expect to have those things coming your way. With the market being hot, I don't know that there's going to be a whole lot of education being made. I think that we'll probably mostly be focused on trading stuff. But if the market does slow down this week, maybe I'll try to make that flow video I wanted to last week. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me. Things are looking really good. So all we can do is pretty much just, buy the dip and pray. If you have any questions, hit me in the section. Cheers, guys.